What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you a side-by-side comparison of the NHL 22 graphics on both the current-gen and next-gen consoles. We have the PS4/Xbox One on the left and the PS5/Xbox Series X on the right. Looking at Austin Matthews there, you can see some subtle differences, but really nothing too crazy. In this video, I'm looking for the features EA said would be next-gen exclusive. Those were enhanced shadows and effects, facial animation on all heads, micro detail on gear, high fidelity cloth simulation, as well as dynamic lighting on cloth and characters. So throughout this video, basically, these are the 5 things we're looking for. Now the first thing I want to show you guys actually has nothing at all to do with the graphics. It's the load time on the two consoles. On the left is the original Xbox One, on the right is the Xbox Series X. I mean, already you can see just how much faster that Series X is. Obviously on the left, we're not using Xbox One X or anything like that, which probably makes it a little bit slower, but still, the time difference here is crazy. I think on the right, from the start of the load time to the puck drop for the face-off was 24 seconds. On the left, it ends up taking 49 seconds. So, like, we're already well into the game on the right before the game on the left even starts the cutscene. Another thing I want to mention, too, on both generations of consoles, really not that much for a cutscene. I was really hoping for a lot more, from these increased graphics. At least we'll see the goalie warming up, players walking into the tunnel, something like that. We get none of that, which I really think was a mistake, as just kind of, a letdown, honestly, with these new graphics, getting a better look at them. Now, speaking of the new graphics, guys, right here I have a slowed down clip of Larkin skating. Again, throughout the video, left is Xbox One, current gen, right is Xbox Series X, next gen. Now, I actually want to pause it here. Look at the shadows. I don't know what's going on. On the next gen, there's 4 shadows there of Larkin. On the old gen or current gen, there's 2 shadows. There should really only be 1, so just a weird thing I noticed. On the right, you can see the lighting's definitely a bit better. The right will be a little bit brighter for starter, just because I noticed NHL 22 was a bit dark when I was recording, so I think after the first recording on current gen, I turned up the brightness slightly, but not as drastic of a difference as you're seeing here. The brightness, is already, I think, just much better on next gen. I can see the snow coming up on both. For some reason, Larkin has this goatee on next gen, but not current gen. The eyes, too, you can see definitely very visibly moving in next gen, but even current gen, they do move a little bit. It's just they look soulless. Like his eyes kind of look like a teddy bear or something. They're just these dark circles, where next gen, I don't know, I feel like they just look more like real eyes. Even too, outside of his goatee, he's got some more realistic scruff. Face-off drop here again, just kind of show you guys next gen, current gen, Larkin versus Matthews here. You can kind of see the jerseys waver a bit, but honestly I'm surprised. I feel current gen looks almost as good as next gen so far. Also, if you guys are wondering about the ice being cut up on next gen, not current gen, that's only because current gen was the opening face-off where next gen wasn't. That should be the same on both. Now, if you had a really good eye, you might have noticed in the Larkin clip how the current gen jerseys aren't that smooth around the edges, whereas next gen is quite smooth. And I think that this Via Pro shot here really reflects that. On the right, of course, is next gen, smooth jersey. I will say his face looks a little fake. If you guys have ever been into a wax museum, kind of has a wax museum looking face. But on the left there, the thing I actually want to point out is just the jersey. The edges there do not look good at all. Now, I think too this is really emphasized by the fact that the blue jersey on the gray beige background. Before in that clip, you had a white Red Wings away jersey on basically white ice. Makes it a lot harder to notice. Plus, while they're moving, I think, also hides it a bit. But in a still shot like this, the contrast, it's quite clear, I think. Doesn't look good at all. But again, in-game, you're never really going to notice that, so that is a bit of a relief. Now, sticking with the Kraken, guys, the next thing I want to show you here is the Stanley Cup celebration on both the current and next-gen consoles. We're using the Seattle Kraken for both. They're winning away for both, so, it's pretty much identical. I will say current gen, I think, is beating the Leafs, next gen's beating the Lightning, but it's still pretty much the same thing. One thing you might notice here, though, it's actually inverted. I'm not sure if it's just a 50-50 chance which side of the ice the camera's put on, but I noticed it's the left side of the ice on current gen, the right side on next gen. You can see here, just the angle that these two guys are taking a knee, Matthews and Cirelli, the goalies here. It's strange to me that it's inverted. It's just kind of something I noticed. In the handshake line here, though, you can see Donato's hair looks so much better there than I think Alexiak. Alexiak's is all kind of together, looks more fake. Donato's actually looked real. Right here, of course, the Conn Smythe trophy. I was looking at it really hard. I feel like next gen maybe looks slightly better, just the way the light's reflecting on it, but the trophy there pretty much looks identical. Even the way the jersey's kind of flapping as he skates away. I really don't think current gen's lacking that much. Again, it's just for me, the edges, when you zoom in on a still shot, you can kind of see how much worse they are. Stanley Cup there, again, a bit more of a glow on it, light reflecting, but in terms of the jerseys, how the player looks, it's just such minute details. You really would have to slow down and zoom in to notice things like their hair, things like the lighting. Overall, when you're just playing this game, I feel like most of this stuff you'll probably never see. Again, just Here you can kind of see the arenas. Obviously next gen's a little bit brighter, but other than that, it's fairly similar. Now this next shot here, guys, is what the bench and crowd look like when celebrating a goal. There's a little Easter egg there, by the way. I don't know if anyone's going to pick it up, but basically I wanted to see kind of what the animation looks like, how visible the crowd is in terms of like their emotions, even the bench too, just how they celebrate. So as you can see here, they stand up, sticks in the air, a couple guys hitting the boards. You can see their shadows. You can see the crowd, celebrating a good amount behind them. Now, next gen here, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like already this looks a little bit better to me. I'm not sure if it's just the lighting, but I feel like I can make more of the crowd's faces out. Maybe it's just me. And again, you got all the guys standing up. Pretty much identical celebration. You got a few more guys, I guess, hitting the boards, but other than that, again, pretty identical. I just feel like the crowd is just more clear behind them. Might just be me, I don't know. Now this next shot here, guys, is of McDavid skating alone in free skate. I think the first thing you'll notice is just next gen, all the lights reflecting off the ice from the arena. Current gen has a bit of light, but next gen just has so much more. And the fact that the ice is brighter and still reflecting the lights better, I think is quite telling. In terms of how like the players actually move, from what I've found, it's very similar. Now, I have limited time playing this game on current gen. Someone who puts in more hours might notice more subtle differences, but I feel the skating is very similar in terms of just the actual gameplay. And next year, I want to give you guys a more close-up shot of what we just watched. So this is current gen. You can see the snow all flying up into the camera. McDavid's jersey there, you can see flapping behind him as he skates. So it looks pretty good. Again, you can see his skates making marks on the ice, the snow coming up. Now this is next gen. Again, the lighting's a bit better. We see kind of all the lights from in the arena, but everything else, the snow's coming up, the way the jersey's kind of flying behind him as he skates down on goal, it's very, very similar. Again, the differences I feel are so subtle. Even the board reflection there is pretty much identical. And even though I just got finished saying how identical McDavid looks on the two consoles, that's when the camera's behind him. When the camera's actually in front of him, pointing at his face, you can see it's quite a different story. On the left, you have the no-name knockoff version of McDavid. On the right, you have the official version of McDavid. Like I mentioned with Larkin, McDavid's eyes on the left just don't look real. They just look like dark circles. Even his facial hair there just kind of looks off. On the right, it looks much more realistic. I feel like his beard's kind of fuller there. Definitely looks better on the right. His eyes look more realistic. Just everything about it, just like I said, just looks like a real version, where on the left, I think, is like somebody basically trying to copy the right the best they can. So I feel this is quite telling. Again, the right looks amazing, I think. If the left is how next gen looked, I would definitely be disappointed. Now speaking of the game faces, guys, next I'm going to give you a side-by-side of a bunch of different players on the current and next-gen consoles. Starting with Brad Marchand, I feel it's very, very similar. Even David Pastrnak here, I will say he has to have one of, if not the worst game face for a superstar, but really the only thing you're noticing is subtle differences, I would say, in the hair. The hair in next-gen definitely looks more realistic. I feel like current-gen, it looks just maybe not as high quality. McKinnon here, for instance, it kind of seems like it's all one hair, where you can really see like the line on the side on the next gen. Even the facial hair as well looks a bit more realistic. Cale Makar here, no facial hair to go off of, pretty basic hairstyle, but even then, it just seems like there's more, I guess, textures or pixels in the hair. McDavid here, I'm not going to lie, looks better than he did in the shot I just showed you, but you can still see kind of like the more soulless eyes on the left. The facial hair doesn't look as high quality, same with the hair. Carey Price here makes kind of funny, angry face during this, but again, Price looks very similar. I feel without the facial hair, you only really have the hair to look at. Panarin's here again. If you look super closely, like on the next gen, it looks a bit better, but the jersey, I think, looks almost the same. Maybe someone with better eyes than me will notice more minute differences. Crosby here again, he's actually got a bit more facial hair on the left, so I'm not sure if that's just random or what. Hedman, I will say on both, he's got like this razor burn or something on the left side of his face, and they picked that up and they did it quite well. He's got more of a mullet here than he does in real life. Austin Matthews, you saw earlier, I think looks pretty good. His game face also isn't the greatest as like Pasternak's. I feel he looks different than that in real life. Ovechkin there, I think they honestly nailed probably one of the best game faces. And again, I think the beard and the hair look a bit more realistic in next gen, but other than that, the jersey, everything else, very, very similar. So that's it, guys, for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the side-by-side, which side you thought looked better. For me, it's pretty clearly next gen. But as I mentioned, I expected the difference between the two consoles to be so much greater than it actually is. Like, it's such minute details I feel you'd only actually see when you go into instant replay and zoom in. If you're just playing the game, I feel like pretty much all these you're never really going to notice. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the kind of side-by-side comparison here in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the sub button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.